This is a fucking party. I am so lit up right
This is one of my favorite podcasts.
Me too.
Yesterday, so I became financially free the day I invested in Tony Robbins. And 2 hours later, I literally invested $13,000 Canadian. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I just worked so hard to get here. And then I was like, this is all my ego. This is all my ego. And then I made a 10K USD sale yesterday, which was 13K Canadian.
Isn't that like, I have chills all over my body. I just want to tell you, congratulations. That's so fucking cool. I love it. Congrats. Like, honestly, I'm not surprised at all. And just so you know, I don't know if you know Aaron Rose.
No.
Oh my gosh. He's like my favorite person on Instagram. No offense to everybody else. You'll see why when you follow him, if you do.
Yeah, okay.
He posted last night. There's a lot of people who are struggling financially, especially with coronavirus, all the bullshit around that, and the small businesses closing, and how that's just like a fucked up situation. And he was like, if you are experiencing financial distress, I would love to be able to help you. I am not necessarily like coming out here saying I'm your savior. I'm just saying I want to give you some fucking money. This can be completely anonymous. You don't have to tell me your name. So anyways, this is the thing. So I'm like watching this live as it happens. I'm like, fuck, this dude is so cool. So he starts giving money, and he's like giving like 333, 444, 100, like just like angel numbers. And as this happens, he sends a screenshot, and it's like somebody randomly just gives him a shit ton of money, and he made back the exact amount of money as a gift that he just gave out. And I like
heart.
And that happened when you were just sharing that. That was last night. Like I was like, what? Oh, what? Oh, what?
God damn, I love the universe.
Hey, my friend, how you doing? This is Sasha, and you're listening to Enlivened. I want to talk to the human, and I know that your 3D human has just done massive leaps and bounds, and you've really created yourself, and you've created a brand of magic, and you're helping so many humans just realize their dreams, and you swear, and you're free, and you're sexy. I just like, I fucking adore you. I see the light in you. I would just like for you to maybe introduce yourself and maybe share in better words what you do for the world.
Okay. First of all, thank you. I am fully receiving all of that. I'm literally tingling. I'm like, whew, I'm flattered. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I am Kiki Ura. I am a spiritual life and business coach, transformation expert, digital nomad, all of the things. I am formally trained in NLP. So I'm a Master NLP Practitioner, EFT, hypnotherapy, life and success coach, and time technique practitioner. All of those things, I'm a master at them. And I don't know how far you want me to go back, but pretty much all the way back. Okay. So I started my entrepreneurial journey in 2016 when I discovered network marketing. Prior to that, was living in Toronto. I had a bar job in downtown, which was like amazing. I was rubbing shoulders with like all the celebrities. I was partying way too much, drinking way too much, to the point of excess where my life was quickly spiraling out of control. And in 2015, right after my 28th birthday, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And that period of my life was such a transformational thing for me, because I was diagnosed with cancer. I met my then boyfriend, guy who would soon be my boyfriend, who was like the biggest blessing for me. He introduced me to a completely different way of living. I moved to northern British Columbia, and that whole entry into the network marketing world was because where I was living was night and day compared to Toronto, and it didn't really have anything that I was used to. So gyms, fitness included. And I got started in a health and wellness company. And from there, like 1 month into it, I got great results. And the girl who introduced me to it was like, you need to join this company. She goes, you're doing everything that I am doing. You're just not getting paid for it. I was like, okay, like I'll try it on. And then from there, I discovered personal development, which was again another transformative piece, spirituality. I discovered Manifestation Babe, who has played such a huge role in my journey. Catherine Zankina is absolutely wonderful. And then because of my days in the bar scene, I really just like thought that the 9 to 5 stability was what I needed. And your eyes are like lighting up. I was in that for about 2 years. And as I was going through and building my little side hustle and doing quite well, I did better than the majority of people for sure. I kind of fell out of love with the fitness piece. I really hated the 9 to 5. Not that the job I worked at was bad, but I knew that there was something more for me. I knew I was made for more. And I knew that a life of freedom was everything I wanted. So fast forward, I joined a new network marketing company based in personal growth and development and spirituality. I was one of the first people to get in the doors, and 5 months after quitting my 9 to 5 job, they closed their doors overnight. I thought that this was like my golden ticket into into 6 figures, into like living my dream life. And then they just said goodbye. And it was like this hell or high water moment for me. And from there, NamaSlay Babe was born. And now I help mainly soulpreneurs transform their lives and businesses on the mental, spiritual, and emotional planes.
Wow.
I asked you how much you wanted.
End of interview. We're done. Thank you so much. It was so great having you. Guys, we're both manifesting generators. We have a lot of energy. I'm like beaming, you're beaming. I mean, just like this is real. First of all, I just remembered that I connected with you so much through your podcast. And I just want to tell people, Kiki has an amazing podcast. And I remember just like I listened to 3 episodes like back to back to back to back. I think you dropped 6 episodes right away. And I was just like crushing them. And I was like, I need to tell this girl, she's amazing. Because I was like, this is like everything I've been through. Like legit, like when you were talking about the bar scene and the drinking and all of that. And I'm like, yeah, been there, man. Like been all of it, everywhere. Toronto, Montreal, South Africa, partied it all. Yeah. But you know, and I find that a lot of us, maybe people are listening right now, we can sympathize and empathize with that, where reality as it is doesn't fit. We don't fit it. It doesn't fit us. So we feel the need to like escape. We feel the need to escape. So
totally.
Right. So I would love, can you please like, let's get to the nitty and gritty part of that transition from I need to escape life because life is painful and I don't fit life. And also like, I need that buffer, something that takes me out of that pain. But also I want to improve myself to a way that I create life around me. How does that transition? Because that's a big transition to make, right?
Like night and day.
And
complete 180.
It's so fucking hard to, because once you're on the other side, you tell people you just have to like have daily habits, man. Like you just need to do that. And like everybody's like, fuck you, I fucking hate life. So like, I would just love, because you mentioned like a wonderful person like happened to be in your life, and he's like, move to Vancouver. There's rocks.
God, it wasn't even Vancouver. I would have been happy there. It was like close to Alaska.
Oh, okay. Well, tell me more about that. Like, how does that pivot? Like that one, because I know it's over time.
Yeah.
But like, what does that transition look like? And please keep in mind, like, there's people who are just like waiting for this, and they want to be like, okay, I want to do it. I want to become like her. How?
Okay. So first and foremost, the pain piece was me being bullied as a kid a lot. And so what I just realized through going through Amy Elizabeth's MMP, which is a manifesting generator specific program. Shout out to her because she's phenomenal. What I realized is that actually a lot of manifesting generators are bullied as kids because people can't take their energy. And so we become small and we shrink and we close ourselves off to try to fit in. My biggest thing was that I learned from an early age that it wasn't safe for me to be me. It wasn't safe for me to show up as myself. So I had to chameleon my way through life. And the older I got, it was unhealed trauma. I tried to take my life at 13. And I mean, obviously I didn't succeed, but I didn't try again. It was just, I laugh about it now.
I wasn't successful in that.
It was successful for me now, but it was just one of those things where like one night I was like, fuck it. I don't want to feel this way anymore. So I took a handful of like Tylenol thinking that would do it for me. I didn't even mix it with booze. Like I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, I just want to go to sleep and I don't want to wake up. That was the feeling inside me. So from there, it became like my friends used to call me a makeout whore when I was in, high school because I didn't sleep with anyone. I didn't lose my virginity until probably like 17. And then I reclaimed it very quickly because the guy was a fucking asshole. And I didn't sleep with someone again until the age of 19. And so it was really like, but I had a running list of like men that I had made out with multiple, like I still have it somewhere. So anyways, that whole thing was like, first it was multiple boyfriends and they were very short-lived. And then it was getting into a on again, off again toxic relationship for 7 years with a guy that, reminded me a lot of my father now that I'm aware of it. Not a good role model, so it was one of those things where I realized, oh shit, I'm in a relationship with my father and he was emotionally abusive. And he, at one point I went down, he lived in Atlanta. I went down to see him. And it was one of those things where he treated me so poorly that I knew I didn't want to be with him anymore. And then I was scared to break up with him. So I waited until we got to the airport because he was very conservative. He owned a lot of guns. And I actually feared that he would like try to keep me where we were. Like, that's how like full of rage he was. He never physically hurt me, but it was definitely a fear of mine. So all of these things, then it morphed into emotional eating unconsciously. Then it morphed into the drinking and the drugs and drinking and driving and drugging and driving and all of these things. And so it finally hit that head where I knew my life was going in a path that like, if something didn't change, I would end up dead, killing someone, in jail, like one of those things. So I started to change, and then I was diagnosed with cancer. And that was like, I remember being on the phone with my dad actually and just laughing, being like, how ironic is it that I start to try to make these changes in my life and then boom, I'm hit with this. And it was just kind of a giggle because I always feared getting cancer. I always say that I manifested it into my life. And I was not surprised when I was diagnosed with it. So it was not something that hit me really heavy. I was just like, okay, like I didn't really realize at the time that I had manifested it, but through this whole pivot of like meeting Josh and moving to the middle of nowhere, really just shifted. He was so supportive, so kind. We never fought. Like, again, night and day relationship and like emotional intelligence and just all of the things. And to anyone listening, asking why we're no longer together.
Yeah, you sound
because
amazing.
we were going on like I come from a big city. I have big dreams, big aspirations. And, you know, our directions were just going kind of parallel with each other rather than together. And mine just went a little bit higher at one point. So we're still great friends to this day. But he was just so supportive throughout everything. Like me starting this business, me in my business now, me quitting my job. It was crazy.
So we need to say a huge shout out to Josh for being an angel on earth and helping Kiki to go from like fucking destruction to like absolute magic. And I love that absolute pivot. And it's so, you know, you say you take so much responsibility and you have a lot of self-awareness over your cancer. And I actually remember that when I was listening to your podcast, that is the thing that made me say, oh, she's different. She's different. She's so different. I've heard like 1,000 billion podcasts. Like I binge that shit, and not anymore as much, but I used to be pretty dramatic. And I heard that and I was like, everything stopped. You said, I am not surprised. I know this was coming. Like the self-awareness that you have, like that you need to have to say that is, to me, the most impressive thing. And right away, like that's when you got my attention, and that I didn't let it go. Like I was like, boom, I'm stuck. Okay, cool.
Oh, I love you. But that's the thing, is that I didn't always have that. For a long time, I was in a victim mindset. And I remember I used to think to myself, if anyone would get cancer, it would be me. If that was a story that I told myself. So it had no choice but to manifest. However, the self-awareness started coming in as I was making that pivot. Like as I started to want to get healthy, I felt that self-awareness piece really like bloom, rather than, it was always kind of there. I feel like I was a pretty self-aware-ish person for someone who was like unconscious. And then when I discovered spirituality, I was like, oh yeah, I did that to myself. Right. And that, guys, the how is taking radical responsibility for your life.
Oh my God. Yes. I think that's the thing. It's not just the self-awareness. It's like accepting and knowing and loving the fact that you created it.
Yeah.
Because if you created that, you can create anything else.
Cancer was the greatest thing to ever happen to me.
How empowering is that? I mean, you can replace cancer with whatever thing that was the hardest for you. You know what I love, Kiki, is that I had these questions planned and you just answer all of them without me asking.
I hate when people do that to me on a podcast.
But I have more questions, so don't worry. Because I wanted to know, like the thing that I actually wanted to hit on, and for you, like I know and I watch your stories and they're so entertaining. Like you're very entertaining. That's like, I think that's a manifesting generator thing. Like it's like, fuck this, man. I know I'm loud. I know I'm bright, but like, fuck it. Right. Like that's what I love in the light of a manifesting generator. I'm like, oh, she's a manifesting generator. I can see it, man. I can feel it. Yeah. Not to say that others don't have their magic. That's also powerful, but it's like very easy to recognize one.
It was really funny. One of my clients, she was born in India, adopted, grew up in the States. And she was telling me, she's wanting to start a business. And she was telling me all of these things. And she goes, but I can't choose just one. And I don't know this. And she was struggling because she didn't know her birth time, because she knew her birthday, but she didn't know her birth time because she came from an orphanage. And I said to her, I'm like, I think you're a manifesting generator. I was just like, I have a feeling. So we did her chart at 3 different times during her birthday. And I did one at like 6 a.m., 12 and 6 p.m. And through, she was a manifesting generator. Yeah. So I was like, yes.
Yeah. I feel like if you are one, and if you are really self-actualized, so you're not in your shadow, you're not in your bullshit, you're not in your trauma patterns, like that energy is loud. Like it's a loud energy. And just as you said, when, you know, you're little, it's like the kind of energy that is scary to some people.
Yeah.
It's also the most fucking attractive thing in the world, I think, when you're okay with it. But anyway, I love that you know that too. I actually wanted to ask you a question about your stories, and you share beautifully all the time, but you share a lot about who you learn from and the programs that you take. And that's another thing that I do that I love when people do that. I wanted to ask you, what's your favorite way to learn? And then also, second part, are you an Audible or a paperback kind of gal? I need to know.
Oh, good questions. Okay, so I learn best, like I love the live format. So if I can't be there live,
As the manifesting generator.
yeah, of course. If I can't be there live, like do not give me an evergreen program because that shit will not be completed. Like I just bought RBA from Manifestation Babe, and God bless her, she is phenomenal. I love her, but I still haven't finished the program. And I know it's going to be so magical for me once I do it, but I just haven't been able to bring myself because I'm like, it's not the same. So I am no longer buying evergreen content unless it is like next level shit. I need something. There's the accountability piece of showing up live. Like MMP was run live and I feel like a new woman after taking that program.
I was like, Amy, I'm like obsessed with human design. I think I wanted to teach it and whatever. And she's like, yeah, you're going to need a lot of school. Like you're going to need to study so hard. And it was before she created MMP. And I was like, okay, I'm understanding that she's telling me I don't know enough. So I went, like she was the one who directed me to that. But I could scream right now to say what you're saying. And this is something that I tell my clients. I'm like, you don't buy evergreen if you're like me. And chances are, if you're my client, you're like me.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't consume it. Whereas if I listen to a podcast, if I listen to a YouTube video, which is why I started to put my podcast on here, I love the information that I get from hands and from body language and from eyes opening up. I get a lot of that. So with you, especially for people who don't follow Kiki on Instagram, you have to. I'm not giving you a choice. So that's it. You have to. You're welcome, by the way. But I've just noticed that you're brave. And what I mean by brave is that you do everything that you want to do, even brighter. Like I think that you give permission to yourself and it gives permission to everybody who watches you.
Do you feel that? The greatest compliment that I could ever receive. Like, thank you for that. It's taken a lot for me to get here. It's taken a lot of work to drop the internal story of like, going back to that like, oh, what is so-and-so from high school going to think? Fuck them. Like they are not paying my bills.
Isn't this crazy though, that that's the person we think of?
Because that's where I'm the most insecure, right? These people, not even high school. In high school, I actually got the opportunity to become myself more, but short side note, I went to elementary school with like a bunch of kids. I was bullied so much that I did not want to go to the filter high school. So I applied and was accepted to an arts high school, went there for 3 years, but my ballet teacher was a see you next Tuesday. And I have called very seldom people. I actually don't even use the word, but y'all understand. And when I couldn't take another year with her, so I went back to the filter high school for grade 12. And so like, I kind of say that formative area, but those were the people that obviously had the most impact on me because they were the ones telling me who I could and couldn't be. And just FYI, to answer your other question, when I read or when I listen to Audible books, I always end up going and buying the book because I have to tangibly have it in my hand. I canceled my Audible subscription because I need.
I'm fascinated right now. I'm like literally about to like jump on my desk because I'm like, what the fuck? Like I crush audibles, like I crush podcasts. And if I really love it, and then I get the physical book, and then I underline and I break and there's like,
need to. There's something about it that makes me retain it more.
Right. That's the thing. But it's almost like I need to give myself that filter. But it's also like a graduation that I find myself having where I have more presence, that I'm able to sit the fuck down and take in a book.
Yeah.
Whereas before, a book felt like evergreen content.
Yeah. When I listened to Ask and It Is Given by Abraham Hicks, it was like, so I'm like listening and I'm like, like taking so many notes because I'm like, this is golden content and this is golden content. And I can, use my personal experience with this and whatever. And then I was just like, my brain can't keep up. So I need to go and buy the book.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure the last one that I tried listening to on Audible.
Yeah, that's a really, really good one. And I remember feeling pretty much the same. And I'm going to be really vulnerable and honest. Like I need to listen to Audible books on like 0.5 speed and I read probably on 0.2 speed. It takes time. You need to find a way for you. What is the way for you to absorb information? And then try multiple ways, because you need to get information. Chances are, if you're not where you want to be in life, you need to put more fucking knowledge in that noggin.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, so I just invested last month in Tony Robbins, and then I was at the seminar and I invested again. And I'm telling people all the time, like, how do you think I'm where I am? I'm not, you don't go to high school and then finish there, or college or trade school or university, whatever you did. Like, think of, if that's the last time that you learn, that's less than, if you live to be 100, that's like a quarter of your life. You're going to stop learning at the age of 25 or whatever the age is. No, like that's not how you get to be a master of your craft. Wherever you're going, wherever you're wanting to go, you need to find someone who has walked that path, because they close the gap for you. They bridge that gap for you. And so if you're trying to build a business or make a change in your life or whatever that is, if you're trying to go at it alone, I guarantee you it is going to take you at least twice as long, if not longer.
If not like 5 times as long.
Yeah.
And I know this from my experience too. Before I started investing in coaching and learning and like live transmissions,
Yes.
I was trying to do it all by myself. And I was like, why the fuck is it so fucking hard and all of that? And then you invest, you're like, oh, okay. It's so fucking easier. It's like lube, right?
Yes. I literally like lube. Oh my God. I invested. So I was finishing up with Beachbody, and then I was getting in started in Volo. And I remember I saw this, my very first business coach, and she was talking about supporting network marketers. And I was like, why am I not doing this? It was almost like my higher self was coming through. I had no idea about coaching. I didn't know why I needed it. I just knew I did. And it was a big investment for me at the time. It was like $5,000, or just shy of that. I think it was like 4,600. But for me, that was a lot was money.
For your first time?
That's a big first time of coaching. That was a lot of money.
That's a huge one for the first one. Yeah.
And I was only making like $3,000 a month with actually less than that at my corporate job. And then maybe like a little bit of side income with Beachbody. But like I said, I was finishing with them. So I never saw a cent from Volo, like from that other company. I literally leapt off the side of that cliff never having been paid, having a massive team. No one else was being paid. Like it was wild. So having that coach was the greatest blessing, because she literally was there to help me deal. I don't want to say hold my hand, because I'm not a hand holding coach, but when my life was crumbling because this company closed overnight and I had no idea, I was up shit creek without a paddle, she was there for me. And that moment alone probably changed everything, because she was the one who was like, so about that coaching business we talked about. I was like, well, fuck, I guess that's my only option now, right? Like, it was something I desired to do, but that I have not stopped investing in myself since then. Like tens of thousands of dollars.
So I would love for you to share, what have you gained? What does it give you? What is the return on investment? Because you're talking to me. I'm like, I fucking get it, man. Like I get it. It's like it's also the biggest rush, right? When you invest, because it's like, holy fuck,
what am
like
I doing?
Everything is possible, because all the bullshit stories of why I wasn't investing are redundant. Like all of a sudden we're like entering this new gym, this like bigger room, and everything is possible, and there's way more doors that are opening. But I want to understand. I want you to please paint a picture for the person who's like, are you fucking kidding me, man? I'm not going to spend like $4,000, $5,000, $1,000, like even 300 is for some people is a lot on coaching when I can barely pay my bills. Like, how do you do that? I've gotten when I've shared about investments that I've made, like not even the biggest ones, my friends have been like, how the fuck do you have the money to invest that? Like, and I'm like, what would you say to that?
Okay, so there's so much I can say. Just put me off whenever you want me to stop talking.
I don't.
So it's all about your priorities. This is like first and foremost, I am going to tell you something and you're going to be really butthurt by it. If you were to smash your computer or your phone or whatever other, your car, whatever, you would find a way to make that thing come back into your life very quickly, because your phone, your computer, your video gaming system, whatever it is an extension of you. We are all tied to our technology. And so your priorities are not in the right place. Sorry to say it. It's when you take a look at where you want to be, that's what drives you. There is absolutely no return on investment aside from the return that you promise to yourself. And so many of us can't trust ourselves because we are the first people that we let down on a daily basis. Like, how many times have you said to yourself, oh, I'm going to go to the gym today. Oh, I'm tired. I'm going to go tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow comes around and you still don't fucking go. Like, that is your fear. It's so easy for you to say, oh, well, that's a waste of money, because you're going to fail yourself. So you have to become a whatever it takes kind of person. I'm going to tell you right now, my business at the beginning, and this is like tangible, like I have gained so much. My mindset, my confidence, my ability to not give a fuck as to what other people think. All of that, like that is worth it alone. I have invested almost 6 figures in myself since 2016.
It's like you go from this small person with like a really constricted view of the world, and every time you invest, it's like your aura becomes like a motherfucking tornado of possibilities.
So I've had this like post brewing in my head for a while, and it's like I haven't found the way to quite articulate it yet, but the gist of it is, when you're a kid, you think $10 is a lot of money. And then, you become a teenager and $100 is a lot of money. And then in your 20s, $1,000 is like, oh my God, right? Like for the typical person, maybe if you've lived a more privileged life, it's not so much, but you guys get what I'm saying. So for a while, I was living in the realm of thousands of dollars. Like that was my arena. I was playing in the arena of thousands of dollars. Now I'm playing in the arena of tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, so exactly what you said about this growth and this expansion, and like the return on investment is that you have to be patient, because it's not like you invest $1,000 in your business and within the 6 weeks you're going to make the $1,000 back. That's not how it works. It's compounded energy, time, investment over a period of time. Like you have to be committed to yourself. So last year it was my first year in business, and I made $37,000. And I treated my business like a hobby because I was free and I had all this time to do all of these things and it was glorious. And I didn't have a lot of clients, right? For my first year in business, I think $37,000 was a great year. But this is the thing, is that I wouldn't have been able to get there if I hadn't invested. The beginning of this year, I was $57,000 in debt. I invested an additional, up until Sunday, I had invested an additional like roughly $10,000 in my business. So I was $67,000 in debt. If you're wanting to get out of debt, stop using the word debt, just FYI. This entire year, I was focused on financial freedom. That was the goal. It was away from debt. It was towards financial freedom. And so $67,000, I literally, as of Sunday, had that all paid off. Hallelujah. Praise.
Hallelujah. I fucking love you. I just like love you. I knew I loved you, but I love you even more because it's not about me. It's about everybody who's listening to you right now. You're like making waves in the ocean of the world. Like you're like, when you're in a pool and you have like a floaty and you're like, I'm going to make some waves. That's what your energy is like. You're like, fuck your bullshit, possibilities all day long. You are 57K in debt and you're like, fuck this. I'm going to invest 10 more K. I mean, I'm comfortable with risk. I fucking love it all day long. Yeah. But I know for a fact that there's people listening to this podcast who are like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, how does that work? What makes you know that if you invest $10,000 on top of the 57 that you're indebted, that you know for a fact that that's going to make a shift for you?
Well, just FYI, just to add on to that, I then that day invested another $13,000 myself. So just saying. But then yesterday, I'm not even kidding you. So Sunday, today is Thursday. Yesterday, I made a $13,000 sale. I literally went from because of course I had fear, but I always tell my clients when they're talking to me, they're like, Kiki, I want to invest with you, but I'm so scared. I'm like, are you as excited as you are scared? Because that is the magic formula that is going to get you moving enough to the point where your skin is in the game. You are there, you are ready to play full out. And the fear is like, okay, shit, well, I gotta make this work. And that magical combination is what is going to produce you the results. Because I'm going to tell you, and I've never admitted this or said the person's name before, but I'm going to do it because we've already been talking about her. But Amy, I invested in her coaching last year, and I absolutely love and adore her. I'm going to preface this, but I made an investment out of fear. I feared that if I didn't work with her, I wasn't going to get the results. And that energy didn't produce me results for a very long time. And so I like full transparency, full honesty. And again, I love her. I've worked with her again this year because
she's phenomenal. Yes.
she is amazing. And that was the thing. It was like better timing. I had the right mindset, investing in the program. It was a completely different energy. So if you guys think that you're going to, like, if you're someone who plays safe and plays small, you're going to get safe and small results. So one of the things that I heard at Tony Robbins this weekend is fortune favors the bold. And that has completely transformed my life. That quote alone.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you just said so many fucking things.
Right.
Do you have an interview after this? Because can we keep
No,
going a
let's
little
keep
longer?
going.
Because this is so fucking good. And I'm really getting energy from this as well. I hope you are too. So I'm not getting depleted at all. So I just want to keep.
I booked a whole bunch of time off for this.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I figured we would talk a little bit. Like, even if it wasn't recorded, I was like, we're going to talk.
It is all good.
So, okay. So let's break it down. Number one, you spoke about Amy. She's phenomenal, but it's not about her. It's about who you are, the person making the investment. Who are you? What does the investment mean for you? It's like, okay, people go to med school and they invest like 100K, no problem, because it's med school. It's like a fucking structure. The moment that you make it not a structure, all of a sudden it's like not the same.
It's totally because this is what we're conditioned to believe. And like, I'm going to tell you right now, I spent 25, I didn't spend, thank
your parents.
Whatever. My parents, I'm very privileged. My parents, spent $25,000 on my education and I don't use squat. So guys, nothing. And this is the other thing too. You go to school, you get a job, you do all the things. It's like, nothing is a safe bet these days. We are living in a very different time. If the only person that controls my success or my failure is me, that is the surest bet that I have ever made in my life.
This is a fucking party. I am so lit up right
now. This is one of my favorite podcasts.
Me too. This is what happens when you put two MGs together in a fucking podcast. This is what happens.
I'm actually getting stressed out that you're not like, I'm not going to be as good of an interview.
It's all been like flow. You know, when you're in kindergarten, but you play those dancing ropes and like skipping rope,
God, I love those.
And then like you need to time yourself to like go into between two. That's how I feel when you speak.
Double Dutch.
Double Dutch. I feel like I can hop when you flow. I'm like, oh, I know where to hop. I know exactly where to hop in there. I'm like, I can fucking dance in there. Yeah. So that's what it feels like.
I need to know when we're going to meet, like in real life.
Well, yeah, it's going to be good. Just to go back on what you were talking about with Amy. Okay, number one. Yeah. So it's about who you are when you make the investment. It's about not making the investment out of fear and making it into like, okay, all of a sudden, I trust myself to play a little bit of a bigger game. I trust myself to get up in the morning and to do the thing that I set out to do, whatever it is.
Oh yeah, totally.
Because you see this investment, you're like, okay, cool. I'm going to drop however much money and yay me, I'm so powerful. And then you do nothing and you wait for the money to like change your life.
I'm fully owning the responsibility. Like it had nothing to do with Amy and everything to do with me.
Right. And that's the thing. I did the same with James Wedmore, who's like he's fucking, I mean, like, I think he, like his business made like, I think 9 million last year.
Can I just say that James Wedmore was at the NLP training right before my master practitioner. He was in with one of my girlfriends, Yolanda, and she said that he is just phenomenal. I'm like, I don't use the word
it's so crazy
anymore. I was like, I am practicing so much empathetic joy for you.
Empathetic joy? I'm not jealous. I'm practicing empathetic joy.
Jealousy is not a high vibe frequency. So you have to get excited for people who experience really cool things.
Wait a minute. You went to an NLP thing and the person right before was James Wedmore. So in that room?
So yeah, so they do the company that I got certified through, which is, I gave you the link, so it's in the show notes. they do back-to-back training. So they will do the practitioner level, and then I was going to get certified for the master practitioner level. And so he was in the practitioner training right before my master prac started. But yeah, he was in the
Wow.
same room, just not at the
That's
same time.
so like you guys didn't go to the exact same event, but somehow your frequencies were attracted. Like that's
Good way of looking at it.
a lot of acid.
I did acid for the first time this summer, and it was awesome.
Do you find that it helps you understand manifestation?
We were at a cottage and by the lake, and the way the water moved was just so beautiful. And that's how I now see water all the time. It's like I don't have to be on any substance to see the water moving like I did when I was on acid. Again, like I was with people, but the things that I saw were just so beautiful. I would definitely want to do it again, maybe not necessarily by myself, but with like one person. Yeah. Oh my God. Because I wasn't doing it at the time as like a mind expanding thing. I didn't do it with that intention. I just did it with the intention of enjoying the experience and getting warmed up to it.
Since we're talking so much about it, I need to say, don't do it unless you are fully confident in your ability to handle unexpected circumstances.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about ayahuasca for a while, and I don't think I'm at that point yet. And so it's really one of those things that you got to be like intuitively guided by. And so if you can't even trust yourself to show up for your business or whatever every day, don't be doing this shit.
I love that. That's a really great like way to put it. Don't fucking do it if you can't even trust yourself.
Yeah.
And there's people I will say like, no, I don't want you to do that. Like, I'm not responsible. You should not fucking do this. Like, and there's also people I'm like, oh, you could benefit from this. Yeah. Ooh, like there's sometimes, especially in 2020, I've had so many thoughts of like, I would just wish the whole world would like,
right?
Instead of fluoride in the water, some kind of love inducing consciousness, right?
So much division in this world right now. And like, even looking locally with, on the news, there was this guy who is like defying, I'm sure I don't watch the news ever, but when I am at my parents' place in Toronto is kind of home base when I'm not traveling. So 2020 has been a lot of being in Toronto. And they have the news on 24/7. And I try to encourage them to not do it, but I know. So anyways, there's this guy who is defying the lockdown orders, and he's really pissed. And he had a great point. His point was like, Walmart and Costco down the street can be open, but my small business is not allowed. And had he stopped and just defied the law at that point, he would have had a lot of great support. He then went on, and I don't care what your point is, what your stance is on this topic, but for the whole and for society and the community, he then invited the anti-maskers, or I don't know if he invited, but they showed up and they were all in this very small space, very enclosed. I don't like, my opinions on this whole thing go very back and forth. I'm like, I understand not wanting to wear a mask. I get it. And at the same time, if you're going out in public, just do it. Like, just make everyone else happy. It's not, don't like the whole selfish piece I get really caught up with too. But the whole point being, because I am digressing now, is that, he caused this big uproar, and what would have been a really great small business encouraging like community, like let's get together and let's rise up, because it isn't fair that big stores can remain open while small businesses suffer. I absolutely agree. But, then it just invited all of the wrong energy into it. I really don't care what your point is, mask, no mask, whatever. But it was just the tone of the message completely changed. And it became very divisive. And so
Mm,
that's all the media is showing, is the
mm,
division of it.
mm.
Not talking about the point of the message.
Yeah, you nailed on the thing, which to me is the most important point, which is what is your intention and with what energy are you showing up? Because, and I literally, like, I don't even think that you know about this. I went live right before this interview and I was talking literally about that. And I love that. I love the synchronicity of this because it literally has to do with what are you showing up with? What are you showing up with? What are you bringing? And it literally doesn't, like, red, blue, masks, no mask. I have very, very, very strong opinions about this, and I have actually refrained from sharing them. And I, that's the thing. Like, I'm like, I have my own power, regardless of the world. Like, regardless of the world, I have my own power inside. I have infinite possibilities, regardless of what the fuck has manifested by other people.
Yes.
Right. I listened to your guy, Tony Robbins.
Oh,
Have you heard his podcast interview on
he
the
played a clip of it at UPW and everyone went off. Like,
yeah.
there again, the division piece. And he was saying, what I loved about him was that he said, listen, it doesn't matter what you believe on the topic. I am just giving you another lens of information. This is not meant to divide people. This is not meant to cause arguments. So just be open. And people still couldn't be open.
Yeah, that's the work we have to do, and that's the work I had to do on my own personal basis, with my own family, with my own life, the things, the people in my. And again, I talk about this book all the fucking time.
No, oh
Non
yeah, you were telling me about it.
Nonviolent communication. Please, everybody read this. Oh my god, for so many reasons. It's because it sounds like it's okay. Nonviolent communication sounds like, okay, this is going to be some kind of love everybody book. Fuck no. It's going to kick your ass in the
Nice.
most beautiful way. And not only that, I actually think this book could be named, like, you could literally rip the cover, not change a fucking thing, and sell it, get exactly what you want.
Ooh,
Right? Don't you fucking want to read it more?
I'm in.
Maybe I'm going to make my first billion like this. Like, I'm just kidding, everybody. Kiki, you're like so much fun. I could literally talk all day. Like, literally, I feel like I could literally stay with
Oh, could I?
but I'm not gonna let you go just yet. I have like 3 more questions, but
Yes.
and I think that everything that we're talking about, I don't see that a person would ever be bored. I hope that they put us on a counter and they bringing us with them in the bathroom and they're just listening,
I was
because
literally, I'm like, I don't want her to let me go.
I don't want to go. I don't want you to go right away either. And honestly, to be completely blunt and clear with everybody, like, my favorite all-time podcast interviews are the ones that are like 2 hour long.
Yeah.
And like, they go into the nitty-gritty, like
Yeah.
the interview with Tim Ferriss and the guy from Sapiens. I was just like, and then when it ended, I was so sad. And I noticed it was like 2 hours and like 23 minutes. I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, that was like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
There's just some kind of flow that I get into, and I'm in that vibe and I don't want to get out. I also have
I'm
an
here
open
for it.
spleen, so maybe that's why. But okay, so let's get focused again. Earlier you said, like, if you invest a small amount of money, you're going to get a small amount of results. If
Mhm.
you invest with a full amount of energy, like you're fully behind it, you're going to get a full amount of results. Another thing that you said is that results compound over time and you're not going to
Mhm.
see it right away. Another thing that I wanted to ask you, do you know that the concept, it's Japanese and it's called Kensho and Satori?
Possibly.
It's basically learning through challenges and tough things and really hard moments versus learning through awareness. So,
Oh.
and this is something Michael Bernard Beckwith talks about like all the time. And he talks about the concept that we can either go through life completely unaware and
Mm.
let life fuck us up. He doesn't talk like that. I do.
But we do.
But we do. He's very gentle and he's pure in his language as well. And I'm not there yet, or ever will be. I don't know. I don't feel guilt about that either.
There's people I look at on social media and I'm like, oh, you're so angelic.
Right.
Why am I not like that?
Yeah. Right. I'm also, sometimes I don't wish I was different, because I'm like,
No.
I'm just a different flower. Like,
Yes, totally. Totally.
and that's beautiful too.
And that's what I'm sure there's those people look at us and be like, oh, they're so like out there.
They do. People say that to me, and I know they say that to you. Like it's very freeing to see somebody so outwardly expressed. I think I actually, it gives me life. Like, I feel like I don't go to their house and I'm shy. Right. I feel like I can be my full self, which is very fucking freeing. So anyways, I just love that about, I wanted to ask you, in your life, you've mentioned cancer, you actually laughed. You mentioned wanting to kill yourself and you laughed. So is there something that brought you to your knees that you were just like bawling your fucking eyes out and then you changed your life forever? Or have you always had this ability to laugh?
I mean,
tough question. Sorry.
No, I like it. I'm honestly usually like on it with responses. So in the moment, those things are hard. But if you walk around and let those things harden you, you're never going to live a fulfilled life. You're going to walk around being hard. Like, who wants that? There's so much resistance and rigidity, and like, no, I am not here for that. I am not
that. I love, but it took me a lot of work to get to that. Let's just put it that way.
And that's the victim versus victor, right? Like, so to expand on that a little bit, the awareness versus the challenge. So this summer I went back to my ex-boyfriend's, and he has had a life-changing thing happen to him. And there is a life-changing person in his life now. And I feel deeply for him. It pains me, the shit that he is going through. And obviously I can't speak too much about it because it's not my story to tell. But the shit that he and I went through this summer was just, I had not felt anger and rage like that in quite some time. And so in the beginning, that challenge piece was there. It was, the fire in my belly was just so strong. And, people are like, Kiki, you're so spiritual. I'm like, this life-changing person does not make me feel spiritual, let me tell you. And that person was my biggest lesson this year. And it really, like, as difficult as it was to kill my ego through this whole, and the ego is still dying around this situation. However, I have to remind myself that this person is the victim in their life. This person has absolutely zero desire. You can tell by their social media posts and by all of the things that they put out there that they have absolutely zero desire to change their life. So when this person's way down here and I'm way up here and I've been doing the work, it's, the negative thoughts, I'm human. They come through and they're not even they become my negative thoughts when this person is manipulating people in his life against me. But again, that's like an ego thing. So it's like bless and release, bless and release, bless and release. They are the victim. They are, they only know what they know. And it's really a powerful lesson when this person entered his life, it was a year's worth of emotional intelligence. And it has actually been such a blessing because this person has helped me completely blow up my business through. So like, haha to you.
This is transmutation, baby.
Like a big ol' Thank you for the drive. Thank you. Because really, that person is going to remain in that place until they desire to change. And oh my, does it feel good to not allow that to drag me down, because that's their intention. That is their intention. And yes, they do get the best of me sometimes, but absolutely, like, that has been, honestly, I had a $17,000 month in August because of this whole situation. So the fuck yeah.
Oh my, you said that at like 2. I just want to say the time was like exactly at that. You had by the way, $17,000 month. Let everybody listening, let that sink in. Like, she just said she went through the fucking hardest moment. Like, this is what came to her mind. And what she did is she made $17,000 a month. Yeah. So in your second year of coaching, fourth? Second year of coaching. Like, wow. I mean, wow. And that shows that all of those investments that you've made, they must have paid off a little bit.
Oh, just a bit.
Just a bit.
To be able to take your emotions in a time that all you want to do is rage and blame the person and blame the world and everything that's happening outside of you, and to channel that energy and say, you know what? They're just really hurt. They have their own unhealed trauma that they just enjoy living in their shit, and they're going to try to make everyone else miserable. So you never, like, why would I give up my energy to that person? Why
would I give up my energy to that person? That's so good. I hope everybody's hearing this.
They don't deserve it.
And you don't deserve
No,
the loss of it either. You're worthy of keeping your status quo. I love that. That's so fucking good, Kiki. Like, that's
what you said too earlier about the compounding, right? It's like, it would have been so easy for me to say, fuck it. And actually, lesson learned is that I did say fuck it when this life-changing thing happened. I went from 5.5K months last year in June, July, August, to an $850 month, or 847, something like that, in September. That comes from saying fuck it, from allowing my emotions to control my state, to control my results and my outcome. And this year, all of that emotional intelligence, my word for the year actually was the compound effect. Word, phrase, whatever. But that lesson has been the biggest blessing for my business. Like, it allowed me to go from 37,000 to a 6-figure business. Like, I am on the precipice of a fucking 6-figure business this year.
No, you're gonna hit it. You're gonna hit it. You take the shit, you make magic with it, you make money with it.
Someone once told me I turned dirt into diamonds, and I thought that was the greatest thing.
Really beautiful.
Yeah.
I just love you. You're life-giving. You give energy. I'm interviewing you and I feel like replenished, and I'm usually
that is the best feeling.
Because I expand a lot of energy, and oftentimes I feel like I carry, and with you I feel really like, this is fucking cool. Like, this is a loving thing. And I know I've said that like 5 times, but it's the truth.
You and Max just moved to Toronto, and then
he's thinking about that, because we actually want to go to Sandbanks area, like the beaches. Like, do you know, or maybe even closer to Toronto, but we want to be on the water.
Yes, that is my number one dream.
Yeah, that's us too. So we'll probably see you there. Because my husband is English. Although he's learning French. French is his 4th language, I believe. So, because he's South African. I told you know that.
Yeah, I know all about that. I'm
he's
literally still dreaming of just getting my butt there, like the second
yeah.
the doors open.
We want to go back. Like we miss South Africa so much, and
When
usually we go
you
back.
go,
I'll let
you
you know.
let me know.
Yeah, yeah, because we have tons of friends there, and we miss them, and they like people, anyways, and they like Canadian girls. I can tell you that. Like
Get me a South African husband, please.
Max's friends, listen up.
Yes.
I don't know if they listen to this. I think they do. I think
I
they
am
secretly do.
single and
Uh,
available.
oh my God, is there something hotter than South African men?
No,
South African
nothing.
women.
That accent just gets me. If you have long hair, tattoos, like those are the physical traits I really like in a man.
Yeah.
But if you have the South African accent, I will just take it.
My husband had long hair to here before he met me. And I think he's gonna, like, he's tried to grow it a lot, many times, but then he gets to the awkward stage and he's like, fuck this.
I love the man bun. Like it has to be fully up, like full head.
You're gonna like shit your pants and wet your panties. Like it's gonna be a good time.
They're all ready.
South Africa was like,
it gets me so excited.
There's so much beauty.
I am convinced that my soulmate is South African. So all I got to do is get over there. So when you are ready to go, you just let me know.
It's gonna be
all
soon.
the men listening to this, if there are the men listening to this, I will give you a Canadian visa.
She's not kidding. I want to ask you something that it makes me so happy to hear people's answers to this. What are you most proud of yourself for?
When is this going to air?
When do you want it to air?
I have to, because it hasn't happened yet, but it's going to. Whisper it so my mom doesn't hear. My goal for like hitting my first 6 figures in my business was to treat my mom to a first class trip to Europe because she's never been. And I'm gifting that to her for Christmas.
Oh my gosh, my whole fucking body is tingling.
So I'm super proud of that.
Oh my God. I just, yeah, there's, I just want to speak to the fact that when I asked you what's the most painful thing, you mentioned something horrible happening to somebody else. When I asked you what you're most proud about, you talk about you gifting something to somebody else. Like your heart, as vibrant, as crazy, as loud, as proud as you are, your heart is pure. You know, you're pure. You're a pure heart. You want to give. You're a giver. And
the biggest thing for me is that now, like, there was so much. One of the biggest gifts that you can give yourself when it comes to like wanting to become financially free is to just know that, like, if it happens in 2 years, great. If it happens in 5 years, great. Just know that it's going to happen, because from that, you can let go of this constraint that you have around money. Stop calling money money. Call it, like, I call money avocados. Because to me, avocados, I symbolize them. They're abundant. They are creamy and delicious. And I love avocados. So when I journal on my gratitude, I always replace money with avocados. The point in me saying this is that for a very long time, I felt so constricted around money that I couldn't give. And now it's on this precipice of me just like feeling so free to give.
Oh, I love you. I call money avocados.
I actually learned this trick from a spiritual. There's a truck outside that has an avocado on it. I'm not even kidding. I'm sorry. I'm not kidding.
Oh, it's so.
Guys, I live on like a side street. Like, whoo, I've got tears in my eyes.
That's crazy.
Of all the things, it's like one of those box vans. I don't even know. It was just like a slice of an avocado and the avocado with the pit, and it said the company name on it. That was the strange. Whew.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
I did. Now your audience really knows me.
That's unbelievable. I'm going to find that company and I'm going to put a picture so that people can see it. That's crazy. Your face, I thought there was like a murderer in your window.
You're going to have to screenshot the moment.
That timing is really good. You describing money as avocados, I'm like,
that's
fucking genius. It's so good.
For it. My spiritual teacher, she's on Instagram as light_align. And she did this incredible reading for me for free, which I felt like so blessed to have. And she was like, you need to symbolize money. And I was like, okay. And it made so much sense to like my NLP brain, but I was like, why have I not done this before? So yeah, money is now avocados.
I love that.
Stress away.
It's really interesting that you're saying this. To be completely transparent, I've noticed that all my money work didn't break through until I stopped saying money and I started replacing it with trust. People trust me. I received trust. It like fucked me like sideways, like, like the best way. And I was like, for me, it's about trust. It's about knowing that I can trust myself with money. People can trust me. When they invest in me, they can trust that they're getting transformation. It's like lube.
Let's just lubricate our lives, please.
It's all about circulation of money because it's just energy. So yeah, this is such a fucking good podcast. I'm going to listen to this. If people want to find you, where can they find you?
I am on Instagram as @NamaSlay Babe. I have the NamaSlay Babe Podcast. And I also have a group on Facebook called NamaSlay Babes with an S. So you can find me in all of those places. I don't have a website. I don't do email marketing, sales pages, none of that. My business is completely organic because I saw that two of my mentors scaled their businesses to $1 million businesses without any of those things. And that was the day I chose to believe that I could too.
Right.
Like, where can I find you? I'm like over on Instagram.
The last question that I love to ask people, what are you most excited to learn about next?
Easy answer. So I'm literally about to do my Date with Destiny, and this book is thick, man. Like it is heavy duty. So I'm actually really glad. I just got an Airbnb in downtown Toronto so that I can have my own space to do it, and I'm really happy I made that investment in myself.
Smart.
But I think like a 2021 goal is going to be to dive deeper into human design.
Oh, yes.
I love learning about myself as a human design or as a manifesting generator. And I've recently been getting the like signs to respond to as a manifesting generator. My best friend the other day was like, you're really into this. She's like, are you gonna like get certified in it? And I was like, I probably should. Because I attract so many MGs. Like they just flock to me. I would say my client base is MGs and generators for sure.
I'm not surprised. I was telling my reflector friend, I asked her a question. I was like, hey, you're really into human design. Are you going to get into this? And by the way, this is a shout out to Rebecca, my client.
Yes.
Like this is real. This literally happened last night. And you're just saying this now. I'm like, there's so many synchronicities with today. I would love to see you getting involved with human design. I think you get it. You understand it for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the only moment you can actually help somebody else, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I've done a lot to kind of learn about my design and myself. There's still, I've only scratched the surface of it, and MNP really helped me to go a little bit deeper, but even still there's like, I think it's overwhelming to me to like how much there is, but aside from that, it's also very exciting. So it's that delicate dance of really exciting, a little nerve-wracking, and that's where like potentiality plays.
I love learning so much. I've always joked with my husband, like if I ever get stuck in a prison or in solitary confinement, I that's not the end of the world for me, because I love being alone by myself in my room or in my office, just reading books. Like,
what did you post today? An undercover introvert?
like, that's the thing, because everybody that meets me, every single person in the world that talks to me, it's like, you have so much fucking energy. Like, you're a lot. I have very good friends who have been drunk and said to me, you're a lot. You're like 2 shots of espresso. And I'm like, I get it, man. Not everybody can handle this. And like, you need a lot to handle me. And they're like, are you always like this? I'm like, no. Like, I don't talk for like 99% of the time because I'm by myself as a hermit. And I love that. Like,
the older I am getting, I realize, so undercover introvert is maybe the new way I'm going to express this, because
Max. Max is the one who came up with it.
But like extroverted introvert. And I don't really align with introverted because I am very extroverted, but occasionally I go undercover as an introvert.
Right. But that's the genius of it. It's like, when you are at the thing, when you are at the event, when you are sharing energy with people, fucking you give the energy, you emit that light really bigly. Sorry, man, I'm a little French Canadian and I make funny words. Very bigly. But the moment, this is what I mean by undercover introvert, is like, people will say, Sash, do you want to come over for dinner? No. Sash, can I come over and like we have a dinner? Sorry, I'm not seeing people this week. Like, I'm so protective of my energy.
Good for you for setting boundaries.
Oh, you have no idea. And I'm so blessed to have friends who get it.
Yeah.
It's been like, I used to be the opposite. I used to be like the most codependent. I'll go to your house just because you invited me.
Yeah.
And then I want to please you. I don't want you to hate me and all that. But now I fucking love me, and I want to be the best when I show up. And I know for a fact, if I don't want to go and I feel like I have to go and it's a should, I'm not showing up as my best self. I'm showing up as like a gremlin.
Girl, I feel you on that. Can I just say that on top of being a 1-3 emotional authority, I am also a Gemini sun and moon. So we got a lot going on here. The sass is real. And if I don't want to do something, you're going to fucking know about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so do you do that? Like, or do you have to put up boundaries and it's like awkward?
I'm getting better at putting the boundaries.
Before the shitstorm.
I'm more of a cancel plans last minute type of person.
The most like, MG thing in the world.
Yeah. Like, I really don't want to go right now. Or often, this is the thing, I don't make plans with people that I don't like. So often it's like, I really don't want to go, but I'm going to go. And I end up having the best time ever.
Right.
So like, I mean, when I do force myself to go to things, like usually what'll happen is I'll pick up on the energy and it'll revitalize me. But there are days where I just know, I'm like, do not talk to me. Do not, like, I am not here. When living in a household with my family, it's just like, pretend I'm not here, please.
Please. Yeah. That's a big thing for me as well. Like, I need, even in my house, it's just me and my husband, like, and we have a dog and 2 cats, no kids. We have had family, lovely family. Like, I mean, not my family, my husband's side of the family. Like, my family's lovely too. They're very big personalities. And then my husband's family, they're more reserved, more calm. And they're like the most angelic people. I still feel like I don't have enough space. I need so much space. And I just like hear you. I'm like, and this is also part of the undercover introvert, because everybody who meets us is probably like, oh, no, there's no way they're introverted. But it's more for me about the recharge, and not doing anything that I don't fucking want to do. And when I do show up to the whatever thing, like a podcast interview, a podcast, whatever, like when I'm teaching, when I'm coaching, when I'm like transmitting energy, I am so fucking full on.
I can even tell you, I had a client once, and I'm not like, I was, I had like just one too many the night before. I wasn't hungover, but I was just like, I didn't really feel like showing up to the call, but obviously I did because it's my client. And my clients, I had back-to-back calls, and my clients literally cured my hangover. It was just like, when I was done, I was like, I can take on the world, because the calls were just so amazing. And I was like, right, I am in my purpose. Of course, this revitalizes me. Of course, this gives me energy.
Because it's a fuck yes. It's like putting on that Batman outfit.
Yes. And what you were talking about the recharging, Josh, my ex-boyfriend, I used to come to him and I would be like, babe, because my love language is physical touch. So I'd be like, babe, my batteries need to be charged. And he would be like, you need to put that shit on airplane mode, because the way that I get recharged is literally just like, hold me for 5 minutes. I once actually asked, it was hilarious. I was traveling, and there was a guy that I was traveling around with, and very platonic. There was absolutely no like whatever, but I was like, would you spoon me for 5 minutes? Because I hadn't had that like connection. He was like, yeah, sure.
You have so much game, Kiki. Yeah. Straight up. Will you spoon me? I will make out with you and spoon you. I will not fuck you. Like, you're gay. Oh my gosh. That's the absolute best. By the way, I just remembered something that I was really impressed by from you. You shared it in your story, and I don't think we talked about it. We talked about your generosity with your mom. But isn't there somebody else that you were really generous with lately, with the amount of 25K, I think?
Yeah. So there was a person that I care about deeply in my life who I can't share for reasons. Just someone who I care about. And I was like, again, I was on this like brink of financial freedom, and they needed some help, some like very short-term help. And they needed a loan. And I said, I have the money, like, here. And so I went to the bank that day, and I got a draft check for, the amount of 10,000, a draft check for the amount of 15,000, because those were the lines of credit that I had. And I gave it to them because they needed it for a big thing. The woman at the bank, she looks at me and she goes, I hope you are buying a house with this. And I told her what it was for, and she was like, oh my God. Like, it was a lovely moment. And so, yeah, I know that money's coming back. So why wouldn't I do good with it? Like, it's doing no good sitting in the bank. Like, I had it, I had the means to be able to use it. And so I did. And I know that it's coming back like very shortly.
And the part that I love the most is that you said, I've never felt so abundant.
Yeah. It felt good to be able to help that person. Yeah. It felt really good. I've never been the person that people come to for that kind of help. And to be able to just, and like the coolest part for me was there was like no restriction, right? We were talking earlier about the constriction around money. It was just like, here, please take it. It felt phenomenal.
I love that the most out of the whole conversation we've had, because if you, and I don't think you've been with me in the containers I've been in, but one thing that I share very deeply most of the time when people say like, what's your reason for living? And like all of those things, I have this dream, and this is the identity of myself as being a sexy Santa, like Santa Claus. And for me, the goal of my life, and this is so hilarious, is to be a philanthropist.
Yes.
And I just want to be a well of water to feed the people who are thirsty.
Like a Tony Robbins.
Like a motherfucking Tony Robbins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't want to become fucking wealthy just to have money in the bank. Yeah. That's cool. I want to give it. I want to feed flowers. I want to like nourish hungry mouths. I want to put people in school. I want to pay for like treatments. Like, I want to make sure my grandma buys the fucking organic strawberries. Like, like those are things I fucking care about. And if I don't have ambition to reach huge goals that have money attached to them sometimes, how am I going to be the well that replenishes?
Totally. And this is the thing is like, you know, so for the past year, like I've given money when I can and where I can and whatever, but I've given energy. If you don't have the money to give energy. Do something for free, put on something free, some sort of challenge. It doesn't have to take a long time. It can be 3-7 days, whatever. I'll tell you a really quick story because it was such an ego moment for me. And on my drive home one morning, I remember something like I heard a voice say, I was going to Tim Hortons, which is like our version of Dunkin' Donuts.
Shout out Canada.
I was on my way to Tim's and I was on the highway and something said, buy coffee for the person behind you. And I was like, okay. I always do that. Like that's my favorite way of giving because it's so small.
Fucking cool.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun. And so I get to the Tim Hortons and this person pulls behind me and it's a Range Rover. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, this person doesn't need coffee. And I actually said, my 3D brain was like, no, I'm not going to buy them coffee. And then again, the voice came in and it always comes in over my right ear for whatever reason. But the voice said, buy the coffee. So I get up and I still wasn't sure. And then I get up to the thing and of course I buy the coffee. And I'm not even kidding you. You come out of the parking or the drive-through and there's a light to get on the main street. And I'm turning onto the side street to get onto the main street. And I hear honking in the background. And I was like, whatever. It wasn't really in my conscious realm.
Not me. I didn't do anything wrong. Yeah.
No, precisely. And then I'm sitting at the light and the honking is like loud and right beside me. And I look over and it's the woman in the Range Rover and she has her window down. And so I put mine down and she goes, thank you so much. You have no idea what this means to me. Like that was just the nicest thing. And I get chills.
I just got chills all over my body.
Because the gratitude, usually I do it and obviously I don't get a thank you from anyone, right? It's, you never see the person. It's just, I do it out of the goodness of my heart. I try to put a smile on someone's face and that's it. But like, it feels so good. And I don't do it for that reason, right?
No, but it's fun. It was fun.
The universe who kept it nudged me in that direction and I did it. And you know, I have that lifetime memory. Like that is something that is going to be with me for the rest of my life because the gratitude and appreciation from that woman, the energy exchange that we experienced, oh, I was smiling the rest of the day. Like that just put me in such a good mood.
Yeah, it fed you. Again, it talks about it in nonviolent communication that every time you give, you receive so much more, or at least equal amounts. I also want to loop all the way back before we end, because it's like there's so much juice in our conversation. You know, you said that whenever I make an investment, it's about the energy that I have as I'm doing it. But it's the same thing when you're about to give a gift to somebody else. You have to have that energy. And also, as you do this kind thing, as you buy a coffee for a stranger that maybe you'll never have a thank you from, what you see yourself, your consciousness sees your human doing. You have the identity, and you are strengthening the identity of somebody who is a giver. You're strengthening that. And I love that. Everything that I do strengthens the identity that I want to have. And to me, like, that's the goal. I want to strengthen the identity of sexy Santa. So you're a sexy Santa too.
The consciousness, right? Because, and I said to her, I was like, you don't need to thank me, just pay it forward. Like, that's what I said. Just pay it forward. And she was like, I will, like, but that's the ripple. We talked about this before. That is the ripple. You do something, it lights someone up, and then they're going to go and do something. They were so profoundly affected by that. And not everyone is profoundly affected by a free coffee, but like, imagine you're having, that woman probably had a really shitty start to her morning, or she's just a great receiver, either or, you know, like, it made an impact in her day. That was the power.
This was the most fun I've had like in a while. I have a lot of fun. I just want to make everybody know I have a lot of fun in my life. And it was just my birthday. And like, I've genuinely had the most fucking fun with you today.
Birthday.
Oh, it was last Monday, but thank you so much. My point was being like, usually your birthday is the most fun. Yeah. Like you, cause you're doing things, but this is better. Like, this
You're welcome. This is my birthday gift to you.
That's another thing. You said, like, you can give your energy, you can give things. Your presence is a gift. If you have nothing to give, like, you can just listen.
I love that. Totally. We're so inundated with technology and the phones and the things. It's like, this is the powerful thing. Walk in to your home, ask your spouse, your parent, your sibling, your whomever you live with, or your friend, how was your day? And genuinely listen to their response.
With so much space. Like, give yourself 5 minutes before you even open your mouth.
That's all it takes.
Like, tape your mouth if you have to. If you're like me and you tend to be a chatty box.
Yeah.
I've had to train myself to listen. It did not come naturally.
Same.
Yeah, I'm like Gemini. I have Jupiter and Gemini, and I'm like, yeah, that's a fucking problem. Like, sometimes. But yeah, Kiki, you are just, for me, it's like this.
I love you so much. I know I've said that a million times, but this probably by far is like one of my greatest.
Yeah.
It was a
party. It was a fucking party. Thank you so much. I honestly can't thank you enough. And I hope for everybody listening, it was just as fun for you. I really think it will be.
I think it will be.
Yeah, I think it will be for sure too. And I guess what I'm doing tomorrow morning, because I was like, I'm going to do it now. Maybe I'm going to do it now, but maybe not for a coffee. But tomorrow morning, I'm going to put it in my calendar that I'm going to buy like a whole breakfast for someone. Like, I'm like, and then watch, there's like nobody behind me. I'm like, fuck. Can I give you $20?
Yeah, here, just take my money.
I've done that. Oh, let's keep that for another story.
We'll keep that for when you come on my podcast.
Oh, yes. For everybody listening, I'm going to go on Kiki's podcast soon. It's going to be another party. No expectations. Maybe, no expectations. No strings attached, but it's going to be a party. Kiki, I just want to thank you so much again. I love you.
Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome.